was studying cinema when I was like ninth grade, and I had a camera, and I went to the studio to film my older brother recording in the studio, and then he was like, "Hey, go in and record the hook for me, the chorus for the song." I said, "Okay, I'll do it." Wow. And then I just got in, I recorded for him, until today I'm stuck with him.
Nice.
And so yeah, but now I'm focusing more on the film work. So I have a lot of projects, and also before coming, I just edited another music video called The Hope, which is covering 14 years of DAM, and it's just a montage, because I'm addicted to cameras. I film the whole time, and I have an archive of DAM. I save everything. That's why also I took the flyers from here. I stole some, so I save everything.
Wow.
So I have everything since we started, and even before. And also before coming, I shot a music video for Silwan, and Tamer will explain about that more.
I would say that DAM's shows with the new album, we are happy to take the fruits that we've been planting. So the new album, Depth on the Moon, we are...
I like their projects the most right now. It's really important, it's getting really hot here.
Maybe they're trying to get to the moon.
I'm also into screenplays, and now I'm working on a huge film that is going to be a feature, and I'm writing it. And it's gonna be out. We hope we're gonna shoot it next year. And it got me into the film. So I'm writing stories now more. I work as well with. I'm a part of a TV show. It's like every week. They bring someone, and I have an opinion, but I do it in rap, and I talk about it.
Nice.
And Silwan is in East Jerusalem, and it's you know that thing that happened between Obama and Netanyahu when they sent the vice president, and Netanyahu decided that he's going to build 5,000 units in Jerusalem, and that pissed off the Americans. So basically, it's around Silwan, Silwan, and they are working there. They are demolishing houses because they want to build the city of David, because they believe that King David walked with his wife over there. That's why they're gonna wreck everything and build the city of David. So I'm working there in a few projects, especially a project called Room Number 4. Room Number 4 is an investigation room in El Mascoubiya in East Jerusalem, where they investigate Arabs. And but basically we're gonna focus on child arrest, because just 3 days before I left to the USA, they arrested a 5 years old. They arrested a 5 years old kid. So we are working on that to bring awareness. And part of my work in Silwan is also Dandara. Dandara, the word Dandara is amazing. It's when a confrontation happened with the settlers there. And it's like the Egyptian movies when then some guys say, and suddenly people are coming from all over to fight. The word Dandara, it's going down. So everyone comes. So I like that word Dandara, and the guy who invented it, he died. He istashhad. So Dandara is the first hip hop group from your hometown.
Well, I'm Lebanese of Palestinian origin, so
half.
Okay, I'll take it.
So that's the project basically. So I'm working on a hip hop album with them, and they are about to finish it. I hope. Next 3 months. The funny thing is, I sent emails to all my friends, and I was like, I'm doing a hip hop project, blah blah blah, with Silwan. If you can send beats, and all I wanted was all I want is 15 beats so I can pick, and I had like 105 beats in 2 days, and that's it. I'm just happy with this number, and soon it will be the next album.
Inshallah. Mahmoud, you want to add anything before we turn the questions?
I would just want to say that we, as DAM, also very active on the street. We demonstrate a lot in Bab al-Shams, in Yafa for prisoners. And this is something that we do because we believe in the art and the activism in the same time. It's not enough that you are doing art, but you need to do stuff on the ground to change things. And I will take you a little bit to the beginning of the conversation, because I'm working on my album as well, very experimental rock, dubstep, and the intro of the album called I Just Killed My Tribe, and where I actually assassinate everyone in my family.
I'm married to
But-
his sister, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're about.
But no, I take it back to Jadaria, to what they talk, because it's a metaphor of killing the tribe that inside you. And one of the execution that they blamed us for was that we putting the dirty laundry out. And I'm a big supporter of doing that, of putting the dirty laundry out, because I believe to do a change you need to be that brave to do that. So it's not like I'm killing, actually really I'm killing my parents, it's just I'm killing the idea of the control of the tribe, and I'm rising up the individual idea of being yourself, or being and actually doing your ideas and doing what you believe in. So I just wanted to say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions that I had based on a lot of people who I told them I was going to be here tonight. I asked them this, asked them that. I think I asked the major ones, but I think we should leave it to our wonderful audience here. Do you want to ask from your seat? Do you want to come up here? What do you think, Farah? I mean, this is sort of an intimate...
Everybody.
So, yeah, how about from Ronnie?
This is a question to Dan. Could you share a few words about your early experiences growing up in your hometown in Led, and maybe how you formed and developed your group?
So, experiences growing up in Lid and how they formed the group.
I think me personally, I had a happy childhood. مشاغبة جدا كانت.
He was a troublemaker.
Yeah, I think it's.
Imagine what it is to grow up with an older brother who's a troublemaker.
I think that it was beautiful. It was charming and beautiful until I discovered the world, and I knew that I live in a shithole. So I said, what the fuck? You need to tell me that you're not 60 people in one classroom. No, you're not supposed to. So I think I had a charming neighborhood at the beginning, and I can remember, because I'm sure that your question somehow wants something to do with politics. I believe so. So I'll give you a few political stories that. I grew up in a school, in a bad school, I would say. We, according to the law, we were supposed to be 30 students in one classroom. We were like 45. We had the shittiest teachers. When I say shittiest teacher, I mean that I have a broken nose from my teacher. He just grabbed my head and he smashed it twice. And Allah yarhamu, my father, I love him, but he asked me, what did you do? In a way, that's the school that and then when I grow up, I noticed that I read books, and I noticed that the principal of the Arab schools in South Israel are picked by the Shabak, or the Mossad outside the Shabak. So so now the picture got clear to me. I would remember that my relationship with the Jews was, they were my neighbors. I used to live in a mixed neighborhood at the beginning, and it was perfect. Then they left, and other neighbors came, and they left, and Arabs came, and then we wanted to leave. And it's just, it looks عادي, it looks natural, but then I grew up and I understood that the Jewish neighbors leaves because you came. That's basically the reason, and somehow the new Jews that they are bringing, we are not handling ourselves. They are not cool like the other Jews. So when the Jews left, the government brings more Jews, extreme Jews, to settle, to make look more Jewish. So it creates, it's a lot of things. How were we raised?
I think it was how did you form the group?
Yeah.
It was back in '99 where I got an album in English. It had 6 tracks, very bad album, and it was Tamer album, and it was called "Stop Selling Drugs."
Yep.
And that started.
When I recorded it, I remember now. When I recorded it, I had a Scarface T-shirt over.
Oh wow!
And I was listening also to hip hop, and I loved that music. And suddenly, my sister brought me the album "Stop Selling Drugs," and I was amazed that there is someone in Lid, considered as small city, have someone that love hip hop and actually doing something about it. So I called him. He invited me to his release party. It had 10 friends?
Five?
You were the 10th, I was missing.
Wow.
And together we created DAM beginning of 2000.
2000. Wow.
I would like to just.
We weren't political at all at the beginning. Yeah, I mean, nothing.
And were you rapping in English or Arabic or Hebrew?
Or Hebrew.
It was in English, but not really English. It was like.
In Latin.
English really, can't you see?
Great. So who else has a
No,
question?
but I just want to add about
Oh,
childhood, how we grew up. I'll try to do it really fast. So when I was at the same bad school till 6th grade, and then I moved to a school called Weheba Salam, which is a Jewish Arab school, which it's kind of mixed and
It was the
cool.
first one, right?
It was the first, and everyone studied everyone's language, and was kind of cool. And suddenly after that, I introduced to a camera, and I wanted to study cinema, and there was no school till today. There is no any Arab school that have like this major or any of that. So I had to fight everyone around to go and study in a Jewish school, because this is the only place that I found that they teaching cinema. And this is what I did at the end. And I went and I studied in a Jewish school, and I studied cinema. And the stuff that I saw there, again, that we were like naive and optimistic, thinking like it's all cool, you know, everyone is human, and no, not yet. Then it's like, you know, everything's cool, everything's normal. But then suddenly when you get into the school and you're starting to see the reality, suddenly I got hit and shocked by how much racist is the people, the cool neighbors that he was talking about, or the people that was in the school. I mean, I was going back to my class and finding on my table written in huge "Death to Arabs," or opening to see the pictures of kids, and then seeing on the pictures it's written, every picture where you see Arab, it's written "Death to Arab." Or when the teachers come in and they start teaching, they give you the worst teach. Like they teach us basically that my grandfather are zeros and they are the heroes who came to this empty land and they took it. So I had a lot of really hard, traumatizing experience on those few years studying in this type of schools, and not just by this words, also again by teachers, stuff that they were telling us.
But of course, I witnessed these things, but it's not black and white. It's more. It have a lot of layers. It's also during your way, from the extreme to extreme until you find your ideology. It's also meeting people, meeting Jewish people who are like, yeah, I listened to your music while I was in prison. Why? Because I was sentenced for 3 months because I refused to go to the army, and suddenly you go into this another group of people that you never met before. And then you go do shows against the separation wall, and suddenly you are invited to a village, and you go on stage, Arab village, and you go on stage and you see that they separated between the women and the men, and then you shape and you notice that. I think nowadays ideology is we as human beings, as new generation, we are against any separation. So it's not black and white. It's it's mixed.
Yeah. Well, I think, and we all would agree here that we're not making this a binary issue, or Jews are all like this, or Arabs or Palestinians are like that. Hope we're more evolved than that. Who had a question? Have you asked?
I was wondering if you have thought of doing some kind of work together with other artists living in the West Bank and artists living in the Gaza, and doing some kind of a show, doing like video conferencing that the different artists can perform together. So I had the honor and privilege to spend 4 months in the Gaza in 2008, and there's awesome musicians and artists down there who I'm thinking would love to do some kind of a show with y'all. So
the question very briefly is, have they collaborated with other artists in Gaza or in the territories? Yeah. And if they're intending to do any kind of project, even if through video?
You can get the DVD Slingshot Hip Hop, where it's all about the 67 hip hop and the 48 hip hop and how it collaborates. And yeah, we have a lot of.
And we did the conference, the video, and we did that a lot, actually.
Yeah. And we would add Alan Morkos too. You worked with her, and that's another. Yes, let's see. There's a guy right there. Yes, Farah.
I have two questions. The first one for DAM, the second for Omar. So you talked about the song Going Back in Time and the controversy that was behind it. There's another song was actually out of people flaming at you because of it. Song number 10, I Fell in Love with a Jew.
I fell in love with a Jew. That's the song he's asking about.
We would like to understand what you guys mean by it, if there is any meaning, and what you respond for it. The other one, Omar, it's been a year for the last song for Syria. When the next one is coming?
So maybe we'll start with you guys.
It's a funny story. It's a sarcastic way to look at the struggle between the Arabs and the Palestinians and the Israelis. It's a love story about me getting stuck in the elevator with this beautiful girl, and she's Jewish. And that's the situation. We are stuck on the same place, and eventually we have to talk and negotiate. But just not to make it a cheesy message. Yes, we are stuck on the same elevator, but darling, you are pressing up, I was pressing down. That's the difference, yani. So this is it, and I don't want to give a large explanation because it's part of the show tonight, and you're ruining the surprise. But it's a sarcastic way to look at the.
And also it's okay to fall in love with a Jew. The problem we always say our problem is not with the Jewish people but with Zionism and with the occupation. We had problem with the British and we had problem with the Turkish as much as we have problem with the Israelis and the Zionism.
Now that I think of it, the song should have been more revolutionary because we believe in the freedom of speech, freedom of sex, freedom. So next time it should be I fell in love with a Jewish guy and just. Also talk about gay rights.
You go down.
Yeah, and he will have in his when we meet, he will have in his iPhone Omar's next album. So there you go, 3 answers. There you go.
And Omar, what about you? When's the next project about Syria going to be released?
I mean,
Does it have a title?
I would hope that people, like I said when I was talking earlier, don't just start to assume, what I should be making next and what I should be writing about next. No disrespect to you, Farah, I love you. And of course, I totally understand why people want to hear more music about Syria and about the conflict and to get energized and inspired. But that's never how it kind of worked with me. I mean, even when I wrote about the Egyptian Revolution, it was one of the first times I wrote about a conflict like as it was happening. I typically like to let things kind of settle and simmer before I speak on them. And to be honest, a song about Syria, I would say it took 30 years to write. It's not like I just wrote it out of what was happening. It was the culmination of the years of dictatorship and seeing how it affected my family and seeing how it affected the people that I knew in the community. And a lot of the words still ring true and resonate in what's happening now. But the situation is very complicated, and for me to sit here and just write like a chronicle of it, I don't know if it's necessary. When you have citizen journalists who are on the ground every day trying to get the story out, nobody's listening. You can get the real story right there. But I am working on a lot of new material, and it's going to be starting slowly to get released in the next few months. I just released a new song the other day with Shadi Mansour, a new video.
Amazing video clip, man.
Thank you. Yeah, this was directed by Global Faction, who's a really phenomenal artist and activist, filmmaker from London, who did most of Low Key's videos, if people are familiar with his work. And this is called Lazim Nitghayyar, We Have to Change. It's entirely in Arabic, inspired by Palestine, but it's much, I think, even bigger. It's just that, and it's more so a dedication to the memory of her cousin and a longtime activist and important figure in Palestine, Juliana Malkhamis, half Palestinian, half Israeli. The one who started is it Jenin Freedom Theater, and so he's featured in it, his voice and his clips, and it's a really great piece. I'm really honored to be a part of it. She's an incredible artist, and I'm just touring and performing and constantly working on the craft.
So maybe we'll take one more question because then everybody's going to get baklava thanks to Farah, and then we're going to come back to actually dance and rock.
Better be a good question because there's balawa over there.
Yeah. So let me take someone from the back. What about over there? Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
So Omar was just saying how he had a song that came out that was entirely studying Arabic, which I think is great, right? But how do you determine what your next track is going to be in terms of language and who you're targeting, right? Like, I know you want to reach out to the people in the West, but you also want to, you know, touch the people in the East, Arabic, English. I know in a lot of your songs you kind of combine the two. How do you determine that, you know? Without, like, maybe it being a turn-off for those who don't understand Arabic?
Right. That's a great question. I mean, I don't really worry about what's going to be a turn-off or a turn-on for people. But I think it's just as important for people who don't speak Arabic to hear the language, especially here in the United States, in order to demystify this beautiful language for people who only get to hear it in the form of angry dudes yelling on TV or in some stupid movie. It's a beautiful language. It's a very deep and profound one, and so I like performing it. It also liberates me lyrically when I can switch back and forth and just kind of pull from an entirely different vocabulary and cadence, and you know. So I don't know. I mean, but I've been writing more stuff in Arabic recently, just kind of conscious effort, because I do want to reach out to more Arab-speaking audiences. But like I said, in general, I think it's important for both. Because also when I go back and perform in the Arab world, there's also the deconstructing of the monolithic concept of what America is and American culture is that's happening as well. And you know, you go back there and you have kids growing up in the Arab world who go to international schools, who watch American TV and satellite TV and on the internet all day, and they never study Arabic, so they don't even know Nizat al-Bani, let alone kids here, you know. So yeah.
There's just one kid here, this young man who actually has been trying to ask a question, but let me tell you, you can all ask them questions after the show. They're going to be around, they're going to sign their CDs. So if you don't get a chance to ask right now, which you probably won't, just...
We also have screenings for
there's
films.
Ram,
Ramzi, tomorrow also there's the screening of...
Yes, and Farah was going to talk about the schedule tomorrow, so please, if you didn't get a chance to ask, come up and ask them or go to the screening. Farah, let me have Ram just ask his question, because Tamer's been seeing him jump up and down. Go ahead, Ram.
Thank you, Ramzi. I had a question about your the way that you discuss the issues within your communities in Lid and Yafa and Ramle. Like, which issues in the community do you prioritize? Like, how do you use your music to deal with them? Like, I know, you know, where we're talking about crime, drugs, the role of families, like integration within the larger Israeli society. Like, which of these issues are really important to you personally, and how do you use music to wrestle with them?
So, a pretty good question.
I regret, you know.
Well, and this is coming from a very bright student who speaks 3 languages, who brings the world together, bridges gaps. This is a good kid here. He deserves an answer.
Thank you.
It depends. يعني, if I do it in Lid, I will focus on the drugs and the house demolition and women's rights, for example. If it happens in Haifa, I will talk about the importance of using the tools that you have to create more, because Haifa, you know, it's the cultural city of Palestine. There you have of the 48, you have the cinema, you have everything going on over there. So that would be one of them. If it's in front of the Israelis, I will talk against the occupation, of course. If it's in the West Bank, then you know. I will talk about the importance of opening labels, radios, using everything. So it depends sometimes. And sometimes we just start talking about how we created them, and suddenly you see how each shariha,
piece.
Yeah, each يعني Ramallah takes you to their shapes the discussion يعني for the question. So it's up. It's عندي كتير layers في هناك يعني في فلسطين as much as we are united and you know شعب واحد, but that's a beautiful thing about it. There's we are يعني ملان ألوان كمان.
And it's very befitting you spoke in Arabic, because Ram took my Arabic classes. It's very good Arabic and Hebrew and English. Okay, guys. So Farah, you wanted to come up here, or should we invite Yalma? We want to have some baklava, and then we want to like dance. They didn't come here to sit down and like.
Yes.
Like that.
So we're just gonna break for a 15-minute intermission, and when you come back, the room will look dramatically different. All the seats will be gone, and the energy will be different in the room. and we're going to prepare you for, we painted pink. And you'll have balawa in your stomachs, so it'll be really different. Please help yourselves to the back room. Farah is up first. And thank you to our panelists.
I spoke about Arab labor, did you hear me? Yeah. I said, you know, they think, where did I get all that? From you. You want to turn me out into the show and the music. You kept telling me you got to see Arab labor. And then we did the song and the lyrics.
This is my girlfriend Fiona.
Hello Fiona. You are the luckiest young lady on earth, you know this. Because this young man you cannot find like in the street. You guys know Ahmad? I know Ram. Do you know Fiona? You're going to stick around for the music part. Yeah. You're going to have him get up and like this is great.